What do you do with a witch who can't be touched? Who disappears in a hare's body? Who haunts a mill, curses cows and hides gold in a cupboard with a spring door? You wait, you light the blue jar, you walk in circles with fairy perfume, and you send a boy with a sling and a stone. This is the Fairies of Caragonan, a story that isn't just about revenge. It's about precision. It's about what happens when fairies take their time and justice smells like harebells. Welcome to Storybite. I'm Empty Lynx, author, artist and indie dev. And if you enjoy learning the lore behind the language we use every day, or the philosophy behind the punctuation which shapes how we communicate, perhaps you enjoy diving into these deep dives of folklore and ancient fairy tale and learning how they still resonate today or become the stories we're hearing now. Or perhaps you just like to have a nice quiet fairy tale read to you with a dark screen and a calm voice. I've got those two right up here. Either way, if you enjoy my content and videos, please do me a favour and do the algorithm-y things. Hit subscribe so you can join me on this journey. And if you get something out of these videos or content, leave a like. It tells the YouTube algorithm god that the content I'm producing is worthwhile and has merit. And if you want to be notified when I drop a new video, which is just about every day, ring the bell and it will let you know when the next video is going live. Now let's get back into the story bite about the Fairies of Caragonan. A princess asks to see the world. The Fairies of Caragonan. Once upon a time, a lot of fairies lived in Mona. One day, the Queen Fairy's daughter, who was now 15 years of age, told her mother she wished to go out and see the world. The Queen consented, allowing her to go for a day and to change from a fairy to a bird, or from a bird to a fairy, as she wished. When she returned one night, she said, "I've been to a gentleman's house, and as I stood listening, I heard the gentleman was witched. He was very ill and crying out in pain." "Oh, I must look into that," said the Queen. So the next day she went through her process and found he was bewitched by an old witch. So the following day she set out with 6 other fairies, and they came to the gentleman's house and found he was very ill. We begin with permission, not rebellion. The fairy princess wants to leave home. The Queen agrees and gives her the power to change into a bird and back again. This is not a tale of forbidden danger. This is a story where women lead from the first sentence, and what the daughter finds on her journey? Not treasure, not romance. She finds a man in pain, and that's what changes everything. The Blue Pot of Perfume. Going into the room, bearing a small blue pot they had brought with them, the Queen asked him, "Would you like to be cured?" "Oh, bless you, yes indeed." Whereupon the Queen put the little blue pot of perfume on the centre of the table and lit it. When the room was instantly filled with the most delicious odour, and whilst the perfume was burning, the 6 fairies formed in line behind her, and she leading, they walked around the table 3 times, chanting in chorus, "Round and round, 3 times 3, we have come to cure thee." At the end of the 3rd round, she touched the burning perfume with her wand, and then touched the gentleman on the head, saying, "Be thou made whole." No sooner had she said the words than he jumped up hale and hearty, and said, "Oh dear Queen, what shall I do for you? I'll do anything you wish." "Money I do not wish for," said the Queen, "but there's a little plot of ground on the sea cliff I want you to lend me, for I wish to make a ring there, and the grass will die when I make this ring. Then I want you to build 3 walls around the ring, but leave the seaside open, so that we may be able to come and go easily." "With the greatest of pleasure," said the gentleman, and he built the 3 stone walls at once, at the spot indicated. This isn't a wand wave, this is ritual. 7 fairies arrive, the Queen leads, they bring a blue pot of burning perfume and chant, "Round and round, 3 times 3, we have come to cure thee." After 3 circles she touches the flame, then brow, and the man rises, healed. This is a ritual pattern that repeats with cows, with mirrors, and with meaning. Because this isn't just healing magic, it's justice groundwork. And it starts with consent. She asks, do you want to be cured? Not, do you deserve it? A witch, a hare, and the mill. Near the gentleman lived the old witch, and she had the power at will to turn into a hare. The gentleman was a great hare hunter, but the hounds could never catch this hare, as it always disappeared in a mill, running between the wings and jumping in at an open window, though they stationed 2 men and a dog at the spot, when it immediately turned into an old witch. And the old miller never suspected, for the old woman used to take him a peck of corn to grind a few days before any hunt, telling him that she would call for it on the afternoon of the day of the hunt, so that when she arrived, she was expected. One day she had been taunting the gentleman as he returned from the hunt that he could never catch the hare, and he struck her with his whip, saying, "Get away, you witchcraft." Whereupon she witched him, and he fell ill, and then was cured, as we have seen. Now, when he got well, he watched the old witch, and saw she often visited the house of an old miser who lived nearby with his beautiful niece. And all the people of the village touched their hats most respectfully to this miser, for they knew he had dealings with a witch, and they were much afraid of him, as of her. But everyone loved the miser's niece, for she was kind and beautiful. When the fairies got home, the queen told her daughter, "I have no power over the old witch for 12 months from today, and then I have no power over her life. She must lose that by the arm of a man." So the next day the daughter was sent out again to see whether she could find a person suited for that purpose. In the village lived a small crofter who was afraid of nothing. He was the boldest man thereabouts, and one day he passed the miser without saluting him. The old fellow went off at once and told the witch. "Oh, I'll settle his cows tonight," said she, and they were taken sick and gave no milk that night. Enter the villain, Jezabel Light, witch by day, hare by hunt. She vanishes into a mill, fools every hound, and taunts the man she cursed. And that's the emotional core here. She doesn't just hurt him, she mocks him thereafter. This isn't random cruelty, it's targeted humiliation. And in folk tales, the rule is always the same. A witch can only be defeated by the arm of a man, which means the fairies can't enter, but they can set the stage. Cursed cows and a crofter's son. The fairy's daughter arrived at his croft yard after the cows were taken ill, and she heard him say to his son, a bright lad, "It must be that old witch." When she heard this, she sent him to the queen. So the next day the fairy queen took 6 fairies and went to the croft, taking her blue pot of perfume. When she got there, she asked the crofter if he would like his cows cured. "God bless you, yes," he said. So the queen made him bring a round table into the yard, upon which she placed the blue pot of perfume, and having lit it, as before, they formed in line and walked around thrice, chanting the words, "Round and round, 3 times 3, we have come to cure thee." When she dipped the end of her wand into the perfume and touched the cows on the forehead, saying to each one, "Be thou whole," whereupon they jumped up cured. The little farmer was overjoyed and cried, "Oh, what can I do for you? What can I do?" "Money I care not for," said the queen. "All I want is for your son to avenge you and me." The lad jumped up and said, "What can I do? I'll do it for you, my lady fairy." And she told him to be at the walled plot in the following day at noon, and left. Fairy justice is slow. It waits for just the right person. And the crofter? He's poor, brave, honest. He doesn't even greet the local miser, which is a social ending in the village. That act gets his cows cursed. But it also gets noticed by the fairies. And that's what matters in this story. Justice chooses people who speak the truth, who protect others, and who aren't afraid to say witch out loud. Fairy court in full formation. The next day at noon, the Queen and her daughter and 300 other fairies came to the cliff to the green grass plot, and they carried a pole and a tape and a mirror. When they reached the plot, they planted the pole in the ground and hung the mirror on the pole. The Queen took the tape, which measured 10 yards and was fastened to the top of the pole, and walked around in a circle, and wherever she set her feet, the grass withered and died. Then the fairies followed up behind the Queen, and each fairy carried a harebell in her left hand, and a little blue cup of burning perfume in her right. When they had formed up, the Queen called the lad to her side and told him to walk by her throughout. Then they all started off, singing in chorus, "Round and round, 3 times 3, tell me what you see." When they finished the first round, the Queen and the lad stopped before the mirror, and she asked the lad what he saw. I see, the mirror tells me it is the witch I see," said the lad. So they marched around again, singing the same words as before, and when they stopped a second time before the mirror, the Queen again asked him what he saw. I see, the mirror tells me it is the hare I see," said the lad. The third time the ceremony in question were repeated. I see, the mirror tells me the hare runs up the hill to the mill." "Now," said the Queen, "there's to be a hare hunting this week. Be at the mill at noon, and I will meet you there." And then the fairies, the pole, mirror, and all vanished, and only the empty ring on the green was left. Sorry folks, it's warm in here. This is one of the most visually stunning fairy ritual scenes in Welsh lore. They bring a pole, a mirror, a 10-yard ribbon, harebells, cups of fire, and they walk in a ring of dying grass, singing, "Round and round, 3 times 3, tell me what you see." This is divination with choreography, prophecy as performance. And what does the mirror show? The witch, a hare, the mill. The hare runs up the hill to the mill. The boy sees it, the fairies see it. Now it's time to act. The stone and the sling. Upon the appointed day, the lad went to his tryst, and the fairy queen appeared, and gave him a sling and a smooth pebble from the beach, saying, "I have blessed your arms, and I have blessed the sling and stone. Now, as the clock strikes 3, go up the hill near the mill, and in the ring stand still, till you hear the click of the mill. Then with thy arm, with power and might, you shall strike and smite the devil of a witch called Jezabel light, and you shall see an awful sight." The lad did as he was bidden, and presently he heard the huntsman's horn, and the hue and the cry, and saw the hare running down the opposite hillside, where the hounds seemed to gain on her. But then she breasted the hill at which he stood, and she gained on them. As she came towards the mill, he threw his stone, and it lodged in her skull, and when he ran up he found he had killed the old witch. As the huntsmen came, and they crowded round him and praised him, then they fastened the witch's body to the horse by ropes, and dragged her to the bottom of the valley, where they buried her in a ditch. That night, when the miser heard of her death, he also dropped down out of life on the spot. As the lad was going home, the queen appeared to him, and told him to be at the ring the following day at noon. The next day the fairies all came with the pole and mirror, each carrying a harebell in their left hand, and a blue cup of burning perfume in the right, and formed up as before, with the lad walking beside the queen. They marched round and round, repeating the old words, and when the queen stopped before the mirror, she said, "What do you see?" Okay, let's be clear here. This isn't David and Goliath. It's David and the shapeshifter. The boy waits, the hare comes, the stone flies, and when he runs to the body, it's not fur, it's Jezabel light. The folkloric climax done right. Set up through ritual, execution through mortal courage, resolution through a community's relief, and the miser who helped her? His life ends the moment she's gone, because evil in this story doesn't just get punished, it collapses under its own weight. The cupboard in the mirror. I see, the mirror tells me. It's an old plate cupboard. That time they went round and the question was repeated. I see, the mirror tells me. The back is turned towards me. The third time's the ceremony fulfilled, and the lad answered, I see, the mirror tells me. A spring door is open to me. Buy that plate cupboard at the miser's sale, said the queen, and then she and her companions disappeared as before. Upon the day of the sale, all things were brought into the road, and the plate cupboard was put up, the lad recognizing it and bidding for it till it was sold to him. When he paid for it, he took it home in a cart, and when he got in and examined it, he found the secret drawer behind was full of gold. Fairy tales don't always end the victory. They end at the inheritance. And the mirror now reveals a cupboard, a spring door, a drawer full of gold. Because justice in this world isn't just about survival. It's about reparation. The gold wasn't earned. It was hidden. It belonged to a man who weaponized his wealth and protected a witch. And now, it funds a future. The niece, the land, and the legacy. The following week, the house, the land, 30 acres all was put up for sale, and the lad bought both, married the miser's niece, and then they all lived happily ever after. The end. The last frame of this story is simple, and, frankly, perfect. The boy marries the miser's niece. They buy the land and raise a family. No one is afraid anymore, because justice isn't just about punishing the guilty. It's about redistributing safety. Fairy tales do that best when the wrong people lose their power, and the right people get to sleep with their cows uncursed. Justice with Harebells. This story isn't about fairies really. It's about precision in protest, timing in justice, and strategy in survival. The fairies don't swoop in and fix things. They set up a pattern. They light the fire and they let the humans act. And when they do, they show where the gold was hidden all along. This wasn't a story about magic. It was a story about alignment. When the curse was spoken, the cows fell. When the chant was sung, the ring appeared. And when the mirror was lifted, the truth came forward. This has been Storybite, and I'm Empty Lynx. And if you ever think justice takes too long, well, remember the fairies and what they can do with perfume, a mirror, and a human who listens. And now you know. I'll see you in the next video. This one, right here. See you there.